Good morning, students. Today we are going to read the poem that is A Legend of the Northland. Actually, this poem is in the syllabus of ninth class. So, especially for ninth class, this is the video I made. And if you are interested, you can go through this and read it. I am going to explain this poem. Actually, first I will tell about the introduction and then summary. After we will start the explanation of this poem, and then we will describe and figure out which type of literary devices and figures of speeches are used in this poem. That is okay. So now let's start with the poem. As you see here, what is that? The title of the poem, A Legend of the Northland. Northland is the area that is a polar area in north, means North Pole you can see, and this region is subdued by the cold and wintry weather or season. So here what is in the poem same the story, one story is there, and that is told about the people who are living there. And a legend means a story about past, that is something extraordinary, exceptional, unique. So that is called a legend, means a story of the Northland. The word legend signifies a story of the Northland. I also told you what is the meaning of Northland. If you are studying geography, if you are reading, you can see the globe, and on the globe there are two most you see on the globe, the uppermost part, that is that is called North Pole, and the lowermost part, that is called South Pole. So these two places, you also know, there the sun rays are not reaching properly, that's why they experience the cold and wintry season there, because on equator the sun rays just coming directly, but there they are becoming slanting. So that's why the same places they just experience cold and wintry season. So this is the title about the poem. And one more thing I want to tell you, that this is the poem that is written in the ballad form. Actually, poetry has different forms, like ode, elegy, sonnet, lyric, ballad, and so many types of poetry is there. So this is written in ballad. And what is the ballad? I am telling you, ballad is a folk tale that is sung. Earlier, when we go back in our past area, what is from where this started, actually ballad is a form of poetry in which the people sing a song or a story that is written in the form of poem, that is called folk tale, means tale is there and it is written in the form of poem. Earlier, this type of story is sung by the persons who are wanderer and who used to go here and there by walking, by moving. They used to sing a song. Not song means the story they used to sing. In this era also, we can see in present, if you go in the villages, you can see at the night people are coming, and when the people are coming, they just sing something in a manner, and that is a story. So now I hope you got what is the meaning of ballad in simple words. If I say in simple sentence, a folk tale that is sung or written in the form of poem with proper rhythm and proper meter pattern. Actually, every poem mostly has metrical pattern, meter are used there. So it is the thing that you know in higher classes, what are the meters and what are the things. So, and one more thing, actually ballads are divided into stanzas, and each stanza carry 4 lines. Remember this, means this is the specific feature of the ballad. Ballad is divided into stanza, and each stanza carries 4 lines, and the rhyming scheme of that stanza is ABCB. It means, you see here, ABCB means the first stanza, that is away in the Northland, where the hours of the day are few and the nights are so long in winter that they cannot sleep them through. Here you see the first line's last word, that is Northland, and in second line the word is few, in third line the word is winter, and fourth line through. So you see the word few of second line is rhyming with the word through with the fourth line. In each and every stanza you can see the same pattern. In second stanza you see where they harness the swift reindeer to the sledges when it snows, and the children look like bear cubs in their funny furry clothes. Here again second line you see the word is snows, and here clothes, they are rhymed together. So in this way we can say in ballad stanza what is the rhyming scheme of each stanza is A B C B. So the same pattern is followed in each and every stanza in ballad. So this is the story, means now I am coming on the part of that is the introduction or summary. Actually the introduction is there. It is a moral story which is overloaded with a message, and it gives a message that we should not be over much greedy. Greedy person means the persons who store something more and more and not willing to spend anything. So they are called greedy, or you can say them miser also, miser. Okay, so greedy or miser you can say them. So in this poem what is, through this poem the poet want to teach us, means he wants to give us a message. Okay, and why? Because suppose that if God is giving you everything, you are having all the things, you are having the materials, and what are the requirements of yours, and house, and for you are also earning daily bread, having so much comfort in your life. So when all the things are given to you by the God, then if any needy person that experience the divide of these things, or he is not so much rich, or he is poor person, he is a needy person, and you are not ready to help him, then it is not good thing. So this is told in this poem, means we always must be ready to help the poor and hungry people. Okay, so this is the story, and here the poet wants to tell what is happening, that he just when he starts the poem, first he describe a place, that is a Northland, the people who are living in that particular area. He said that the person they are living there, that is the wintry season they are always, and the same place experience the cold, and the days are not so much longer, only few hours in the day, but the nights are so long. So people are facing so much difficulty at the night. Why? Because when it is too long they cannot sleep all time. So in this way describe the poet described the poem, and then he said, and so what is to spend the night, the people who are living there, they used to tell the story to their children. They used to tell the story. So once this is the story is told one of the children there. So the poet is saying that I think this is not true, means whatever the story is not true, this is man made or whatever, or you can say mythological story. Mythological means that is not based on the reality, it is said. So the poet says that it is not real, or but I would like to tell this story because it carries a message, moral. So that's why he said that we would read about the poem, so I would tell you. And then the story starts, and the story starts in this way. What happens, the one person is there, the name of that person is Saint Peter. Actually Saint Peter, who is regarded as the apostle of Jesus Christ, or you can say the embodiment of the God who came on the earth to give religious preaching to everyone, to make them understand that you live your life in a very religious manner and always remember the God. So they are like the saint in our Hindu scriptures. So here he is saying that one day what is happening, that Saint Peter just kept fasting, means he did not eat anything since morning that day. And now it is time of evening. He just reached there. One house was there. In that house one old lady was living. So he reached there on the gate, and he asked something to eat. And when he asked something to eat, at the same time the old lady was baking the bread. Means the old lady was baking something for herself. And when he asked that you just give me something to eat, because I had not taken anything since morning. But this old lady was so much greedy. So when this lady was so much greedy, due to her greed, due to her habit, means not giving anything to anyone. So what she did, means whatever the things, means whatever the things she made for herself, and she was not ready to give the same thing to Saint Peter. She thought that why? Because they are so big, means they are so big. So that's why she started baking small pieces. She thought that small pieces she would give. And in this way, means due to only greed, that is only, means due to her nature of greed, that's why she was not ready to give. So then what happens again, when she look, means finally they are prepared. And first she decided that these small particles she will give. But finally when they are prepared, and they the lady just took a glimpse of those things, or again looked, and the same things they are looking again big, huge. Although they were small pieces, but for that lady, due to you can say greed, looking big. So she dropped the idea of giving, and again she decided that she will prepare more small. Means if you compare with those, so now she is going to make a smaller one. So again she started baking them like a thin layer, like a thin biscuit. And what, when finally they got prepared, and again she looked, means second time, then again she was not ready to give. They or seemed for her that again they are big. That's why what she did, she dropped the idea, and finally nothing was given to Saint Peter. That is, so now Saint Peter got angry already. He felt some fainted due to hunger, because he had not eaten anything. So what happened, that due to anger he got furious and gave a curse to that lady. What curse? That you are so much greedy person, and if God has given you everything and you are not ready to help others, so what is the use of yours in this earth? Means you are not uh, supposed to be live here on the earth. So he gave the curse that you go, and I am just giving you curse, you change into a bird and you go. And by doing hard work all day, you would not be able to arrange the food for yourself. And as soon as he gave this curse, the lady turned into a bird and just go above in the sky through a chimney and sit there. And all the children or students who are used to go to schools, they see the same bird sitting on the tree and making effort for his daily bread for his food. So this is the thing, means this is the summary, the gist you can see. Now I will explain this and try to tell you each and every line in a very well manner. So listen. The poem begins. The poem begins away, away in the Northland, where the hours of the day are few, and the nights are so long in winter that they cannot sleep them through. So, there, away, away in the Northland means this is a story about a place on the Northland or North Pole, and that is not near. This is away, away. Away, away means so much away. This is the place that is having so much distance. So away, away in the Northland, where the hours of the day are few. And actually, this is the place that is located in the North Pole, and due to it, their hours of the day are few. Only few hours in a day. Only few hours in a day. And the nights are so long in winter. But the nights are so long in wintry season. In our area also we are seeing, when there is wintry season, what we are seeing, the nights are long but the days are not so much long. Days are just having few hours only. Okay, the days are short in the comparison of night in the wintry season, and this is the area that is always experiencing the same weather. So it is obvious that here the day in hours they are few and the nights are so long, and that they cannot sleep them through. Here they is used. Actually the word they refers for the person who are living in that particular area. It means in North Pole, means the person who are living in the North Pole. So this word signifies for them. The people who are living in that area cannot sleep them through, cannot sleep all the night, because nights are so long. That's why, suppose that if nights are so long, you will be also not able to sleep all the night. Okay, if you are just laying and just after 6 hours 7 hours you just awake, and still you are seeing that, oh, still it is night. So what you will do? So here the poets want to tell, just he is framing a background, means why he is telling these things. They are having the reason. The reason is there, when they are not able to sleep and they are facing difficulty to spend the night. So what they used to do, they used to tell the stories at the night to their children. That's why the poet is giving the emphasis on these things. So here what is, you see the second stanza, that is where the harness, where they harness the swift reindeer to the sledges when it snows, and the children look like bear cubs in their funny furry clothes. Where they means the people who are living there, they harness. Harness means to tie something. Suppose that if you are having the animals like cow, deer, hen and dog is the very popular, mostly the people are nowadays have just keeping dog. So what you chain the dog with anything, means a rope is there, and with that rope you tethered that dog with something like gate or whatever you are having, you just tie it up. So harness means when you tie something, attach something, so with the rope. So where they harness the swift reindeer. So here this word reindeer, you see this word reindeer, it also signifies that the animal who are found in that area. This is related to your geography here. Means the poet used geography. Sometimes it is asked in which particular region which type of animals are found. So the reindeer, that is the type of animal is found in that North Pole, in that north area. So where they harness the swift, and swift is used. Swift means the, that is meaning of swift, the reindeer, that is swift means when they walk, when they move, They are so much strong, they are so much fast. So, so now the second line of this is under to the sledges. Now the meaning of the sledges is like a cart. Cart, like bullock cart. You see the tonga. Tonga is also pulled by the horses. Bullock cart is pulled by bullocks or oxes, and then so many things like that, cart or wagon. So means these sledges in that area were pulled by swift reindeer. They just tie or attach or tether the reindeer with these sledges, with these wagons, with these carts, and they carry the material, the goods, whatever the things they used to carry on that sledges. When it snows, when it snows, when snow falls, means in that time they use the reindeer with the sledges to pull or to carry their loads. And the children look like bear's cubs in their funny furry clothes. Means, and the children look like bear's cubs, and the children of those persons look like bear's cub. Means here the children was made a comparison with the cubs. Means the poet made the comparison of the children with the bear's cubs. Bears means it is also a kind of animal, and cubs means the baby of the bear, that is called cubs, a small baby. So here the poet is saying that when the children, due to winter, due to cold, due to snow, when they wear furry clothes, they look funny and like bear's cubs. Means in wintry season you also see we are wearing woolen clothes, and sometimes the small children, they are wearing something that is like fur. Fur means that is very soft, and like you know, see a lot of hairs, like not hair actually, but they seems they are looking like that. So means when these type of clothes the children wear, they look like bear's cubs. So now we are coming on the figures of speeches. So here see the first line, away away in the Northland. You can see here the word away and away two times repeated, so repetition, figure of speech is repetition here. In the second line, where the hours of the day are few, here again repetition and alliteration also. Alliteration, as I told you many times, means when the consonant sound, initial consonant sound is repeated again and again, it is called alliteration. You can see here the and the is repeated. Then, and the nights are so long in winter. In this stanza, nights are so long in winter. Here assonance is there in winter. These are the two words in winter. Actually in assonance is the figure of speech where the vowel sound is repeated. So here the sound of I is repeated, so you can say assonance is there. Then the last line, that is that they cannot sleep them through. Here again alliteration. You can see that, they, them, means the sound repeated again and again, initial consonant sound, so it is called alliteration. So it is clear. Then the second stanza, you see in the second stanza what is, where they harness the swift reindeer. In this again they and the alliteration is there. And to the sledges when it snows, alliteration again, sledges and snow. You can see here sledges and snows, again alliteration is there. And then, and the children look like bear's cub. Here in this line the figure of speech simile is used. Actually I told you what is simile. In simile the comparison is made between two objects or two things or two persons. Okay, when one object is compared with any other object, then and the word of comparison are used, that is simile. And there is a difference between metaphor, I am telling you. In metaphor also the comparison is made, but In metaphor, the words of comparison are not used. So here like is used. You can see here like. This is the word like. So that's why simile. Then the last, and their funny furry clothes. Again alliteration. F and F is repeated. So here alliteration. You can see. So now I hope these two stanzas you got. Means I told you that now he said about the weather of that particular season, a particular place, and the people who are living there and what they are doing, what are their activities. And then in the third stanza the poet is telling, they tell them a curious story. I don't believe this true, and yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. The poet is saying still means to spend this time because the nights are so long. So that's why what they do, they used to do to tell the story. Means they tell them a curious story. Curious means that you want to know. Means something that you want to know. That is called curious. You are very curious person. Means desire to know something. Here you can say strange also, something that is strange, unique, that you want to know. So and then tell them a curious story they used to tell them. I don't believe this true. Actually this is written tis true, but if you are reading in is in poetic form, then it is tis true. Why I am telling? Because due to figure of speech, here alliteration. Tis and true mean the sound of T is repeated. So the poet is saying that they used to tell the story and I don't believe this true. And the poet also says that I also think that this story is not true. But I will tell you. Why I will tell you? Because this story carries a message. You will learn something from this story. That's why this is not true, but I will tell you. You may learn a lesson. You may learn a moral. So that's why I will, if I tell the tale to you. So now from here, the poet starts the story. Means once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below and walked about it preaching, just as he did, you know. Now he is saying, once upon a time when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below. In this word below, why the word is used below? Because he is considered as God, and as we know that God is not living on the earth. We means whatever our opinion, whatever our ideas, and whatever is taught to us related to our scriptures, whatever we are having our religious scripture, according to them God is living in heaven, not on the earth. So that's why he's saying, once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below, means Saint Peter, embodiment of the Jesus Christ, living on this earth. That this is the story about that time. And yet and walked about it preaching. And what was the work of Saint Peter? He used to go, he used to move here and there, walking and preaching. Means he used to give the religious preaching to everyone. So, and walked about it preaching. Preaching means moral or religious teachings. Preach means to give moral teaching to anyone or related to religion. So and he used to move here and there giving preachings of religion, just as he did, you know. Just as he did, you know. And this also, you know, means if saints are there, so saints only what are their work is to give preachings, to spread the moral things among the persons. That is. So now these two stanza, you see the figure of speech. They tell them a curious story. Again here, alliteration. I don't believe this true. Alliteration. You can see here sound of T is repeated. Here again, they tell them, the sound of this repeated again. And yet you may learn a lesson. Here learn and lesson, these two words, alliteration is there. If I tell the tale to you, here again tell and tale it is, and to also it is repeated. So alliteration. This is the poem overloaded with the figure of speech like alliteration. And then in this line, once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below, I think once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below and walked about it preaching just as he did, you know. So I think no major figure of speech is here. Okay. Then he came to the door of a cottage in traveling round the earth, where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the hearth. Means here, what is the meaning of this? This stanza, the poet want to say, means when Saint Peter was moving here and there and giving the preachings, giving the religious moral teaching to everyone, and just at that time he came to the door of a cottage. One cottage was there, and he reached on the door in traveling round the earth, because he was traveling round the earth, he was moving, he was roaming here and there, traveling here and there. So finally he reached on a door of a cottage. Cottage means that you know about, that is like a house, and not proper with the that we are having this time, concrete house we cannot say, but there are thatched roof and grass and what mud walls are used. In this way we can say the cottage. You all are aware about that, I think. So in traveling down the earth, where a little woman was making cakes, and on which house, on which cottage he reached, there in the same cottage a woman, a little woman was making cakes. Means one lady who was making cakes that time and baking them on the hearth. Baking them on the earth, hearth. Hearth means that is fire, means fireplace where we used to prepare food, that is called. Means suppose that we all are eating breads, and in our house our mothers, they are, or whatever the females, they are just using these this type of fireplace, that is called hearth, to make food, to prepare meal. So and baking means whatever, to bake something, to make the thing warm, or to cook in an oven, that is called baking. The cakes are usually baked. Okay, so the word baking means to bake the breads or cakes. So one woman was making cakes and baking them on the earth. Earth, I already told you the meaning of earth, like fireplace where we used to prepare our food. And being faint with fasting, for the day was almost done, he asked her from her store of cakes to give him a single one. But here, what is the means Saint Peter? Saint Peter, who was having and being faint with fasting, means who was having fasting, means he kept fasting. Fasting means when you are having any day that is very significant for you, a special day like festival or anything religious day, we also keep fast, means not eating anything since morning. So in the same way, Saint Peter also did not eat anything since the morning. That's why, and being faint, and due to the fasting, he near about fainted. For the day was almost done, because he spent all the day without eating anything. For the day was almost done. Almost done means spent. He spent all the day without eating anything. That's why near about he was fainting. He asked her, and due to the hunger, and he was hungry, that's why he asked her from her store of cakes, and he noticed that the lady was making cakes. So he asked something. You just give me to eat, because I did not eat, and I did not eat anything. So you just give me. To give him a single one, only single one. He asked, only you give me a single piece so that I can eat it. Then what happened? The figure of speeches, you see, he came to the door of a cottage. Door of a cottage. Here alliteration came and cottage. In traveling round the earth, you can see uh, in traveling round the earth, I think no specific figure of speech is here, where a little woman was making cakes. Little woman was here also, you can say ww is repeated, so alliteration, and baking them on the earth, nothing is there. And being faint with fasting, faint and fasting, they are repeated, so that's what means f is repeated, so alliteration. For the day was almost done, day and done again, alliteration. He asked her from her store of cakes to give him a single one. He asked her, that is the repetition, means when particular word is repeated, then it is repetition, and when the sound of a letter is repeated, then it is alliteration, you know that. Then the next stanza. So she made a very little cake, but as it baking lay, she looked at it and thought it seemed too large to give away. Means the lady, when Saint Peter asked her that you give me something to eat, so the lady started making very little cake, small cakes. Now you got to know why she did that. Because she was greedy woman. That's why she started making this time small cakes. So she made a very little cake, but as it baking lay. But when she started baking it, she looked at it and thought it seemed too large to give away. But when she looked, that cake, means that was already small. But when she looked the cake, it still seems for that lady too large to give. Means so large that it cannot be given. It cannot be given to Saint Peter, she thought, because it is too large, according to that lady. So too large to give away. Then next stanza, therefore she needed another and still a smaller one. Then after that, what is? Therefore she needed another. Needed means, suppose that students in our home, we are having floor, and when the floor is needed, only then it is possible to make bread or chapati. Okay, means to press floor with your hand, and by uh, means pressing it and mixing with water and whatever the material ingredients, so it is called kneaded. In Hindi, if I want to tell, that is called gutna, aata gutna, that is called the kneading. So here means she looked, therefore she needed another, means then another, just floor she started kneading it, and still a smaller one, and still a smaller one, this time again the smaller one she made. If you compare with the earlier, means second time also it was smaller, but it looked when she turned it over as large as the first had done. But again when the lady just looked that part, that scrap, that piece, that part of the cake, when she turned it over as large as the first had done, means whatever she prepared earlier, this was looking the same, means or the same small for that lady. This is the psychological effect of the lady, means she was not willing to give due to his greed, that to his habit of miser. So that's why she is not ready to give that also. So therefore she needed another and still a smaller one, and it looked when she turned it over as large as the first had done. Then she took a tiny scrap of dough. Dough means uh, I am telling you what is the meaning of dough. That is flour. When you mix other material with the flour, then it is called dough. Whatever water, salt, and whatever you are just mixing, and when you are preparing cakes, so other ingredients also, other extra material you are mixing with flour, then it is called dough. So here the meaning of dough is flour that is mixed with other materials also. Then she took a tiny scrap. Scrap means a piece. Tiny scrap. Scrap means a piece. This time she took, tiny means small. This time she took a tiny scrap, tiny part, tiny piece, a small piece of dough, means flour, mixed flour, and rolled it flat, and she started rolling it, and rolled it finally flat. Flat. Flat, students, you are aware about a small and thin, you can say. Flat layer. Then she took a tiny scrap of dough and rolled it flat and baked it thin as a wafer. Wafer means a small and thin biscuit. A light means that is very thin biscuit, and baked it thin as a wafer, and she baked it. This time, if you compare with wafer, means like a wafer, like a thin biscuit, she prepared it this time, but she couldn't part with that. Still, she couldn't part with that, means still she was not willing to give that, although this time she made very small and very thin part, thin piece. Still, she was not willing. She was not able to give. Part with means alag hona, मतलब उसको देना. So, and she took a tiny scrap of dough and rolled it flat and baked it thin as a wafer, but she couldn't part with that. So now we are just coming on the figures of speeches. Though in first line you see, so she made a very little cake here. So see, you can see that alliteration. And now, but as it baking lay, she looked at it, and though it seemed repetition is there, two larks to give away. And therefore she needed another and still a smaller, again here alliteration, but it looked when she turned it over as large as the first had done. Simile, which simile is there, you can see this is simile called. Okay, so simile, figure of speech is there. As large, because the word as is used and comparison is made here, that's why as large as the first had done. So in the next stanza, then she took a tiny scrap of dough. Took and tiny, again here you can see alliteration, and rolled it flat. Here rolled and rolled is repeated twice, so it is repetition. In rolled and rolled, it is repetition, figure of speech. Then and baked it thin as a wafer. Again simile is used here as a wafer, means it is compared with a small and thin biscuit. That's why simile again. So for she, then the next stanza, for she said, my cakes that seem too small when I eat of them myself are yet too large to give away. So she put them on the shelf. Now, here it is very clear of her habit of greed. Means she is saying herself. For she said, my cakes that seem too small when I eat of them myself. Means she is saying, when I eat them, they seem to me too small, so small. Means even I couldn't quench my hunger with these. And when I am making them for that person, that old man or Saint Peter, it is looking very big. So it signifies that she is a greedy lady. So, for she said, my cakes that seem too small when I eat of them myself are yet too large to give away. So, she put them on the shelf. So, thinking this, she put all those cakes on the shelf. Means one shelf like Almira where we used to keep our materials. So, she put them back there. Then good Saint Peter grew angry, for he was hungry and faint. And surely such a woman was enough to provoke a saint. Now, what is? The good Saint Peter grew angry. So, now patience has its limit. That is a proverb. Means then good Saint Peter grew angry. Why grew angry? Because he was watching all these things. He was just seeing what the woman was doing just in front of him. So that's why he got angry. And one more thing, he was also feeling hungry. And due to hunger, he was near about to faint. And that lady was not giving anything. And she was having the material to eat, but not giving. So that's why Saint Peter got angry and furious. And surely such a woman was enough to provoke a saint. And the reason was also given here. What is the reason? Surely the woman was responsible for this anger. Means she provoked him. Provoke means entice. When you entice anyone, when you attract or provoke, okay, because that lady provoked means the cause, the lady was the main cause of the anger. She provoked Saint Peter to show the anger. That's why and then the next, that is, so next stanza means, and he said, you are far too selfish to dwell in a human form, to have both food and shelter, and fire to keep you warm. Means he said, due to anger, he got furious and said, you are far too selfish. You are so selfish, lady. You are so greedy, woman. So, to dwell in a human form, and even you are not allowed, you are not able to live in the human form. She is saying that you are too selfish, you are too greedy to live in a human form. Means you are not supposed to be in human because you are not having any human quality. You are not a good human being. Whatever the characteristics of a good human, you are not having. That's why to have both, because you are having food, you are having shelter, all these things, fire you are having that keep you warm. Means all the things you are having in your life, means the things are sufficient for a good human, but you are not supposed to be, or you are not made for these things. Means I think that you do not deserve for these things. You do not deserve to be a human being. So that's why he is saying, and he said, you are far too selfish to dwell in a human form, to have both food and shelter and fire to keep you warm. That's why now you shall build as the birds do, and shall get your scanty food by boring and boring and boring all day in the hard dry wood. Now I am giving you the curse, means the Saint Peter said, I will give you a curse that you become a bird. Now you shall build as the birds do. Means as birds used to build their houses by boring. By boring means digging. Digging with their beak. Suppose that when they are sitting on the trees, on the branch, they just by using their beaks, they used to dig or scrape. Means Why? Because they want to make their home so that they can live there. So uh, Saint Peter is saying, now you shall build as the birds do, because you are living a comfortable life, and due to this you are not having emotions, not having feelings for others. So now you shall build as the birds do. Now you go. Now I am giving you the curse. You turn into a bird and do the hard work as the birds do, and shall get your scanty food. Scanty means very little. Why? Because you are making for me a little pieces. That's why I am giving you the curse. You also go and make your little pieces, little food you just collect, and shall get your scanty food. Scanty means very little food you go and get. And that little food also not so easy. It is also very difficult to find out. You will do the labor, the hard work all the day. Then you will be able to find out that little thing to eat. And that is not easy. By boring and boring and boring. Means boring means digging by digging. Okay, and this is repeated thrice, so it is clear that repetition is there. Okay, in this simile is there because the comparison is made. You shall build as the birds do. Okay, figure of speech, that is simile. Here it is repetition. And then shall get your scanty food all day in the hard dry wood. Means in the last line is saying, by doing hard work for all the day and even in the dry wood, you will be able to collect the food. So go. So now we are coming there, the figure of speeches. And then good Saint Peter grew angry, for he was hungry and faint. He and hungry means repeated, so here it is alliteration. And surely such a woman, again alliteration, was enough to provoke a saint. Then you are far too selfish to dwell in a human form, to have both food and shelter and fire to keep you warm. Okay, then here I also told you simile and alliteration, that is. Then this you see, then up she went through the chimney, never speaking a word, and out of the top flew a woodpecker, for she was changed to a bird. And then up she went through the chimney, and the lady just went through the chimney. Chimney means that is a narrow vertical cave. Okay, that is like narrow cave. You also see there are big factories, and there they install chimneys so that whatever the smoke, it come out from there. Okay, that is called chimney. So there in that cottage also one place, one narrow space is there, like, and through that space, through that chimney, she went up in the sky, never speaking a word. Never speaking a word means even she couldn't get the time to say anything. Means she couldn't get time to see. Means as soon as Saint Peter said, now I am giving you the curse, now you go and change into a bird and do hard work all the day, and anyhow manage to collect, gather the food for yourself, and that is also little food. And after saying this, she turned into a bird. Means not got the chance even to regret, means, or repent what she had done. Instantly, immediately she turned. So then up she went through the chimney, never speaking a word, and out of the top flew a woodpecker, for she was changed to a bird. And there one woodpecker was there, and out of the top flew a woodpecker, for she was changed to a bird. And she just there flew a woodpecker. Now she is turned into woodpecker, and for she was changed to a bird. Now she just flown away from there. She was changed to a bird. Then she had a scarlet cap on her head. Means she had A scarlet cap. Scarlet means that is a red color. Red color cap, because the same cap she was wearing at the time of baking the cake. So on the head she was wearing that scarlet. So she had a scarlet cap on her head, and that was left the same. Means the scarlet means that hat, like whatever the clothes that is in red color, it remains same. It remained same, but all the rest of her clothes were burned black as a coal in the flame. But leaving that means, apart from that scarlet, all the other clothes whatever she was wearing before, means now she is bird, means before that when she was in a human form, whatever the clothes she was wearing, they all burned. They all burned and black as a coal in the flame. Where they burned? In a flame. And now they turned like black as a coal. Coal is also having a black color. In the same way, all the clothes burned down, and now only one scarlet cap is left on the head. So here the figure of speech you see. In the last line it is very quite clear that simile is there, because here the clothes were compared, means burning clothes were compared with coal like black. She had a scarlet cap on her head, here alliteration, and that was left the same, but all the rest of her clothes were burned black as a coal in the flame. And every country schoolboy, now last stanza, that is, and every country, every country schoolboy means the boy, means the schoolboy who are living there. Every country means the place, means where these schoolboys were living, had seen her in the wood, means whenever they used to go their schools, on the way they used to see the bird on wood. And where she lives in the trees till this very day, boring and boring for food, means on the wood, means that there is tree. In that tree she used to sit, she used to live there all day, all time. And what she used to do now? She used to do only boring and boring for food, means that is the poem. And here also you see, actually here we can see she is used for a bird. And if for a bird or animal or any non-living thing, if she, he, you, or these are the things are used, so it is called the figure of speech, that is personification. As I told you, personification. Okay, so in personification I many time told you what is that. Inanimate ideas or inanimate things, they are treated as living beings or personified, means whatever the things they are personified, human beings like. So here personification is used. So this is the poem actually. So the moral of this poem is that the woman was so much greedy, so much selfish, and even she was having all the things in her life, but she did not give anything to Saint Peter. That's why Saint Peter cursed her that you chance, you turned into a bird and now live a difficult life. That is. So the message means, if you are having the things, if you are capable of the things in your life, so always be ready to help others. If any needy person is there, they seek help, so you must do the help. So now you see there it is also that is ballad. A ballad is a song narrating a story in short stanzas. Ballad are a part of folk culture or popular culture and are passed on orally from one generation to the next. And Legend of the Northland is a ballad. So this is the poem. So I told you first the introduction, message, summary, and explained also, and figures of speeches. Now all these things I have just told you. So read it poem, and if you have any query you can ask me.